shit, but now he's back to tell you about other bad dads who are worse than him, and we gotta fix this song. My dad's the shit. Hey everybody, it's me, Jake's dad, and back for another episode of Really Bad Dads, and this episode is entitled Bing Crosby. I know what you're thinking, he was probably a great dad because he was rich and a comedian and entertainer and, all that other shit. But really, he was a real asshole to both of his wives and all 7 of his kids, if that's how many kids he had. I mean, he had 4 with his first wife and then 3 with his next wife. And I'm sure he probably, had some, these little seedlings off here and there to other little whores. And then he probably beat other kids, that, weren't even his. But it was back in the day when it was not looked down upon and shit. Anyway, for instance, some cases that I'd like to point out that Bing Crosby was a piece of shit dad. He used to like to drink a lot. Even though he did curb his appetite for drinking, his wife, his first wife, Dixie, she liked to get really hammered. And he'd beat the shit out of her and tell her, hey, I'm going to divorce you, bitch, and take the kids away. Even though he was a horrible father, because he'd beat them, he'd do corporal punishment, whatever the hell it means. I didn't have time to look it up, I'm a piece of shit, got things to do. Anyway, with his first wife, he had sons, what's it called? He had sons Derek, Philip, Lindsay, and some other son too. But, the thing about that one son named Lindsay, goddamn, what a horrible name for a son. It's bad enough your name is Bing, right? But it was a different time back then. We were probably still called the faggot Bing, and now your son's being called the faggot, Lindsay, and he doesn't have anything special about him. He can't sing, like you could, even though that's kind of faggoty back then. Anyways, later on, he, left this wife, Dixie, of his, after, 20 years, because she, died from ovarian cancer or some shit, a little asshole again, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, then he married again to some girl named Catherine Grant. I think she was an actress or whatever. He had 3 more kids. One was some kid named John Lillis the third, which doesn't even sound like the name of Bing Crosby, Ancestryhood, so he can always say well, you're not getting even my million, you son of a bitch, and hey, I'm your actual son. And then his next was Marcy Gray or Macy Gray or something like that. Not the Macy Gray you're thinking of, but his white bitch and shit. And maybe it was Margaret. I don't know. And then finally it was his son Nathaniel, who became a real good golfer and shit. That I actually did look up and found out.